Hi, this is Athena StarSeed, and this is a series called Raising Reverence. And I have an incredible guest, Jerome Shaw, and he is a baby breatharian, as I am too. And today we're going to be talking about the benefits of becoming a breatharian. So I just wanted him to kind of introduce himself, tell everybody a little bit about his background, and then we're going to just jump right into it. So welcome.
Hi there. Hi there. Thank you for having me. I appreciate this opportunity. This is wonderful. I'm very enthused, enlightened, and just empowered to be able to share this wonderful message with people. And yes, my name is Jerome Shaw. Some background about me. I'm a theater major. I have a bachelor's arts in theater arts, performing arts in San Marcos, Texas, at the University of Texas State. I drove to California to pursue acting, and my whole life changed. So everything changed when I came here. Um, just from the people that I met when I came here, came in contact. For a while, I was bouncing around from different housings, different Airbnbs, sometimes in my car, sometimes just making my way. But I came in contact with a group of monks and nuns from Myanmar. So they were from Burma, and they taught me about meditation. They taught me about things like, why we suffer, detachment, and I just learned a lot of lessons from them. And along the way, one of them had a discussion with me about a woman who they knew who doesn't eat, who just was on liquids. And so that really got me enthused with different ways of life, different ways of living. And so I decided to research into different lifestyles that I never knew were possible and I never even knew existed. So that kind of launched me on a path where I went 3 months on liquid. So I went 3 months without solid food last year. That was 2019. And wonderful opportunity to meet Athena StarSeed and Elita in December at one of their talks at the Sound Palace. And after that, I went on a retreat with them, which was spectacular, and it changed my life forever. And now I've been on the breatharian path, and it's just been rising higher and higher from here.
So, a little bit about my breatharian walk as well. I am a fitness trainer by trade, and I have been in the fitness industry since the late 80s and the early 90s. So I've done aerobics, indoor fitness, outdoor fitness. I started one of America's first fitness outdoor boot camps in the early 90s. And I had a retreat center in Toluca Lake for 15 years. And I had two guest houses, and people would often come and they would stay with me, and they would detox and fast and intermittent fast and go on raw foods and vegan food and drop weight. So I had heard about fasting from reading the books, the Essene Gospels of Peace. I was studying the mystery schools, and that had a very profound effect on my life. Then I came across, with an internet search, Jasmine, and then I heard the word breatharian, and that really got my attention. So I started my journey into 38 and 40-day liquid fasts. So I did juicing, I did smoothies. The longest water fast I did was about 14 days. The longest dry fast I did was 2.5 days. And I kept really wanting to know more. And my goal was, for like 15 straight years, get to a 40-day water fast because of all the incredible health benefits. So then I found Ray Mayor, and I saw a lot of his interviews, and he was interviewing a man named Elitam Elamine. And so I followed Elitam for a year, did about 3 retreats with him, and I am still going strong with my own practice. But I know, Jerome, you did 16 days, no food, no water. So let's talk about why you wanted to even do this and what some of the benefits are.
Yeah, so now I would say technically I didn't do 16 days consecutively. They weren't in a row completely, but they were broken by one day. So I went 8 days, and then on the 8th day I broke the fast, and then I went another 8 days at your retreat. And so that was just an experience of a lifetime. I've never gone that long. And I have to really thank you and everyone, the environment, all the wonderful souls, the wonderful people who helped cultivate that nurturing and just nourishing environment that allowed me to do that. Because I don't think if I had been in a less positive or, you know, a negative environment, that I would have been able to last that long or endure that long. So I definitely attribute it to the people that were around us. So you want me to go into the benefits that I have listed
Well, before you do
here?
that, I would like to know or share with us why you wanted to become a breatharian in the first place. What made you want to do that?
Well, use a number. One reason, I guess you can call it ego, spiritual ego, maybe. I love challenging self. You know, I'm all about challenge to do this. I'm all about breaking through barriers and doing that people say are impossible, or things that people think are impossible, things that think cannot. One of my favorite quotes, Helen Keller, is that while they were saying amongst themselves, "It cannot be done," it was done. It's one of my favorite quotes, and it definitely inspires me to challenge myself to, you know, possible to impossible to possible, you know. And so, challenge myself. One, another was just I did a drastic change. My life was, I wouldn't say in shambles. No, it wasn't devastating, but it definitely went a lot of drastic changes. I had a lifelong relationship, thought was going lifelong, that turned out not to be. And so, you know, leaving that and coming into my own, just really being introspective, being very reflective, doing a lot of meditation, um, you know, it just led me to a lot of lifestyle changes. Knew that I couldn't continue on the way that I was going, especially with my diet. Heavy. I was a heavy meater about 2 years ago. I would eat anything, you know, but then I gradually started to shift. I gradually started to change, be out more in nature, be accustomed more to a vegetarian way lifestyle, and just things would have it, I jumped clean into liquidarianism. So those were a couple of the reasons.
Okay, so you kind of got overridden a tiny little bit by the siren. So did I hear you say that you went through a breakup in a relationship and you started kind of questioning your life a little bit and you wanted a very big change? Is that what happened?
Yes, a desire to change. It was a need for a drastic change in my life. I lacked clarity, and those are a couple of the first things on the list that I have here. Breatharian benefits.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. So for me, the reason why I really wanted to go into it is I wanted to have a communion with divinity. So I had lived in an Indian ashram for 2.5 years, and I had gone into a celibate practice, and I had been meditating 3, 4, 5 hours a day. And I was I had a work trade, so I didn't go to work. I just would live and breastfeed my daughter. And the first 5 years, I was just basically in ceremony. And I got to study the lives of Indian saints. And that was so exciting to me. And some of them had this gift to not eat. They didn't call it breatharianism. They just never ate. And they would live in these tiger forests, and they had these miraculous powers, and they had these hearts for humanity, to want to help humanity evolve and heal. And so they were very courageous individuals, very selfless individuals. They fed people. They went long periods of time in silence. They did not need to eat or drink water. And they ended up helping a lot of people heal that came into their presence. So I was very curious. Then when I started researching the people that I personally knew that went into a 40-day water fast, I had heard about layers of mucus coming off the people's eyes, like Dr. Sebi, the brain, the mucoid plaquing in the stomach, the intestines, the healing benefits, but also too, that there was a layer of film off this reality that they ended up seeing what some people consider the light. And so in the spiritual community say, you know, have you seen the light? And some people who have had these near-death experiences or wake-up experiences or Kundalini experiences talk about on day 36, 37, 38 about seeing this really bright light. And I had recognized that from all of the sadhus that I had been studying. And so I had had a dream one night in the middle of the night that this 6-foot eagle came to me and told me to go into the basement and under a carport, under so many boxes, find this book in the middle of the night. And I had bought it probably 10 years before. I never read it because I was so busy working. And I finally, since I wasn't working, had time to read the book. I read the book and it was all about changing your blood over to a breatharian. And I was like, okay, my subconscious mind is interfacing with my dreams. And yes, it's a desire, but a very huge 6-foot eagle says, read this book. So I ended up flying to Bali. I fasted for 9 days in the jungle. The universe turned white. I did see a bright light. I freaked out and I started eating again. So I hadn't figured it out, but I was very curious and some supernatural things began to happen to me. And since that time, I've been having a lot of dreams where these masters are coming and they're giving me information about how to upgrade my own body, mind, spirit, consciousness. So that's what really started pushing me into this further. And like you, I'm really curious and I like to challenge myself.
Yes, most definitely. Yeah, you're definitely a one of many challenges. You've overcome many things, so I commend you.
Now I'm having a tiny little trouble hearing you. I don't know if you can get close to the computer or check the internet, but I think
Can you hear now?
Yes, I can. Now I can. Yes.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay. Okay, that's better. Good. Sometimes you freeze over there. I'm not sure with the internet, but you're blinking sometimes.
Oh, okay. Well, this is what I can do here.
While he's
How
fixing that,
about,
I'm going to just keep talking. So one of the other things I wanted to talk about was I had been given a mantra from a Baba of mine. And the mantra was Adu Perum Jyoti, Tani Perum Karone. And that was to open your rainbow body. And I was studying a South Indian Tamil saint named Valalar, or Swami Ramalinga, or Swami Gal. There's like 3 different ways people call him. Anyways, very, very famous Tamil saint. And the Tamil saint was never seen eating or drinking. And that like clicked in my mind. Now, still in India, people weren't saying the word breatharian. They were just the saints that didn't have to eat. And then when I read Autobiography of a Yogi, there was a Saint Teresa that Paramahansa Yogananda went to visit, and she did not eat. And then I was studying Saint Germain when I went to Mount Shasta. And they said the Count Saint Germain in the 1500s, they never saw him eat or drink. And so I started getting really curious with these people, with these, I'm going to say these certain powers that they had power over food.
yeah.
That they didn't have to eat. And they also had service in their heart. And they would do these wonderful things to help other people around them. They were not self-focused. They were selfless. They did what people call seva, selfless service for humanity. And I felt that it was a purification process.
For sure. For sure. I've definitely felt it as well in my heart that I'm compelled to give more and more service to people and find more creative and inventive ways to provide service.
Whatever you did, you look great. The
Can you
internet
hear me?
fixed. I can hear you. You're not frozen, and you look amazing.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good.
So let's kind of go into it a little bit. So you finished the retreat. You've been on your own now for almost a month, right? We finished January, the end of January like 18th or something. I can't remember the day we finished.
Well, I believe the 18th was when we started.
Oh, okay. We started the 18th. So we went to the
Yeah, we finished the 26th.
the
Yeah.
26th. Okay. So it's almost been a month.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you look the same. You look the same as you did when you got out of the 16 days.
Well, I have undergone many changes, but I appreciate that. Yeah.
So I know that you shared that you had had some type of a spiritual aha moment, like right towards the like one of the two last days. Could you
Mhm.
share any of that with us?
Sure. It was more of a revelation, just a personal revelation of mine where I discovered that my relationship with food had changed. It was not the same because for a while it was almost as if I was not shunning food, but I was avoiding it because I wanted this way of life. And so I was thinking, I'm a breatharian, I'm a breatharian. And I was really just invested. And then finally, when it hit my subconscious and when the cells within my body started to shift and they were under the new government and were in agreement and in alignment, it was like, okay, we're going to do this thing. And then something happened that had never happened before. My body changed. And when I went to actually eat, just to test it out, just to see, um, it was completely different. The food went somewhere else. It was not, I no longer had the feeling of my stomach being distended, my stomach expanding. The food, it would evaporate. It would just be lost in the, wherever in the phantom zone. And so no matter how much I ate, nothing happened. It was like nothing on the level that it used to. And so I was like, oh wow, like I had already made the transition. I had no idea that the transition had already taken place. So I was in the pranic state. And I believe that, you can go in and out of the pranic state. It's not permanent. It's not irreversible. But when I touched that, I realized that, oh wow, this is what it feels like to be able to be self-sustaining, where my body was letting me know this is just an experience. You eating this, you don't need this anymore. You no longer need this food. You're actually sustained by the work that you've been doing, the meditation, the qigong, like all that stuff. That's what we like now. Now we don't need any of the other stuff. So there was one night before that point where I think I had a dream and I woke up in the middle of the morning and it was as if a question came to me and it was asking me like, are you sure this is the path you want? And I said yes. And so it said okay, and the door opened and I woke up and then and that was it. I think I walked through the door. And so that was kind of symbolic of me walking into this new way of life.
That is super amazing. I feel that dreams are a way to really communicate with your psyche and definitely the subconscious mind. I know that you're into the subconscious mind. I am too. I've been programming my subconscious mind since I was in my 20s. And it has certainly helped my finances, my career, my dreams. I mean, I pretty much have manifested every single thing I've ever put in my subconscious mind. And so when I have a dream, I have these beings come and visit me, and I go to these night schools actually, and they give me information. They test me on fear. They test me on jealousy. They test me on discipline. And when I pass, it's like I feel this expansion. And then when I fail, I'm put back into the classroom and I'm sitting in the desk and the teacher goes, I'm just like, oh my God, like how many people are watching this dream right now? And I have like had specific direction from masters in dreams to do specific things in my waking life. And
Wow.
as I said, you know, out of the many, one of them was specifically that I would be food free in the future. Now
Amazing.
I do have a daughter, so I'm still in my in and out process. So I'll go through waves. Like I'll not want to eat for 5 or 6 days, and I'll just do like water or liquids. And then I'll be like 4 or 5 days I'll want to eat. So sometimes that'll roll, or every 2 or 3 days I'll not eat and then I'll eat again. So today I did liquids half the day, and then I had a couple meals like around 3 and 4, and then I stopped eating again. And I'm getting ready tomorrow for Mahasavratri, Shiva Ratri, which is all about Shiva. And in India, they stay up 24 hours and they chant and they pray to Shiva. And all these masters come out of the mountains and they come and they bless humanity to wake up, and they give humanity all their goodwill, all of their tapas, all of their sadhana, so that they'll receive the blessings through all the lineages. And everybody fasts. So no food, no water, and they're there and they're praying.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So
Sounds awesome.
we're going to do that tomorrow though, right? So you usually have a fasting group day, right?
Yes, I actually I did not know about what you were just describing, but that sounds awesome. I just happen to be in a group based in Israel, on a WhatsApp group with people all over the nationwide, like they're all over the globe, but we all go we base it on the UK time. We fast on Fridays. So Friday we fast. So tomorrow I'll be fasting with you. Yeah.
So that's no food, no water, right?
Yes, we'll be doing that tomorrow.
Okay, that's wonderful. So that'll be really exciting. So anybody who's watching this, I'm going to probably load this up. It might be Thursday night when this gets loaded up. So if people are watching it right now in real time, it'll be tomorrow, or I will say February 21st. And Shiva Ratri goes from the 21st all the way to the 22nd, which is my birthday. So I'll be fasting all the way through my birthday.
Nice, nice. Uh, Bringing it in, yes.
Yeah, bringing in the new body, the new
Hmm.
mind, looking at the revolution around the sun, and just feeling really grateful. This is like
Yeah.
50 years of grace, 50 years on this beautiful planet. And
Hmm.
fasting and detoxing and praying. And this is the important thing for me, because a lot of people that I met in the breatharian world, they just do the breatharian thing for health benefits, which is wonderful. I'm a personal trainer. I love the health benefits. However, that's not my primary purpose. Mine is a spiritual purpose, and it's about becoming closer to divinity. And
Hmm.
so I do want to put that up there up front, that when we fast and we let go of the food for the 1, 2, or 3 days, and you get hungry and your emotional body goes crazy, when you pray, you do feel more peaceful and more light does come in, and you do feel a divine communion with your soul, with your higher self, and with divinity, which is all one, all one.
Yes, yes, most definitely.
So this leads me to some of the benefits, and what motivates me is when I'm going into a fast, to look at the first 13 to 16 hours, because like right now it's around 7:45, 8 o'clock. I stopped eating about 2 hours ago, let's say like 5. So 12 hours is going to be 5 a.m. So all we have to do is, like, even if you stop eating, your last meal's at 5 o'clock, you're going to get incredible benefits at just not eating from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. or to 9 a.m. the next day. So from 13 to 16 hours, what happens to our body? You increase your growth hormone 1,300%. No food. Okay. And this is, you can still have water. However, if you don't do water or food, you're like tripling it. It's like 3 days of the benefits of a water fast when you do a dry fast. So we have more fat burning capabilities that at that 13 to 16 hours, that you're going to be burning more fat as your stored fat resources. Also, there's anti-aging benefits. We also have something called ketones, which actually help the brain. So your brain's becoming less foggy and more clear at 16 hours. And then from 16 hours to 24 hours, we have autophagy. And that's when the cells start eating the bad cells. And they start dying and they start flushing them out of your system. And you're making new cells, fresh cells that don't have old, bad, negative programs. They're being born brand new with what you're programming them in the present with. So when you're fasting, if you're doing yoga or you're chanting or you're meditating or you're doing qigong or you're doing tai chi or you're reading the holy scriptures, like you were reading the Kabbalion, I was reading the Hermetica, that you're programming those cells that are getting reborn with that new data. And repetition is what gets into the subconscious mind, which is our body. Our body is the subconscious mind. So now at 24 to 36 hours, we have new stem cells kicking in, more anti-aging benefits. Autophagy's at an all-time high. We're in our weight loss zone. So now we're eating that really hard, stubborn fat in those little pockets that we couldn't normally get rid of. Now that's going to be our primary fuel source. And then when we get to 36 to 48 hours, now we're looking at brain repair for brain cells. We got stem cells kicking in. We're completely regenerating. We're also burning, like we said, those unwanted stores of fat. The autophagy is still there. You're detoxifying the body, the anti-aging benefits, and the telomeres. The telomeres are starting to reboot. And that's when we start talking about immortality. And it's your turn now. So you tell me some of the benefits that you have that you want to.
Okay. So yeah, I wrote down a personal list of benefits that spoke to me. These are just benefits that came off the top of my head since moving into this new lifestyle. So some of them are going to sound maybe kind of silly, but they're just the ones that I jotted down for my own experience. So breatharian benefits, and so we'll start here. I'll just list off some of them. More clarity, more focus. You know, these were two things that I lacked. I was very heavy into video gaming and I just did not have clarity and focus. So these things were very welcome in my life, to be able to know what I should do and know the steps that I should take. And even if I didn't always know the steps that I should take, circumstances would come along to manifest in my life to bring me to the circumstances and people that I needed to meet for those things to happen. More space to breathe, more space in your body to actually just breathe. You know, you don't have the feeling of just being full or being bloated. You know, you have more space for the lungs. The feeling of health, you know, we don't, you know, they say that we don't appreciate, or we don't miss our water until our well runs dry. You know, it's like the feeling of health. A healthy person has 1,000 wishes, but a sick person has just one. You know what I mean? And so the feeling of health is very, very taken for granted, I believe. More quicker manifestations, quicker, very, very quick. You'll start to see things and notice things on a level that will surprise you. More love, more love. You know, you look at people like Jasmine Heen, and it just oozes off of her when you hear her talk, when you see her speak. You just realize that the capacity for love is limitless. That, oh man, it just makes my skin tingle right now just talking about it, because I understand reading books by Dr. Joe Dispenza, you know,
Yeah.
becoming Yeah, becoming supernatural. He talks about it as well, that he was visited by a being that, that gave him a sense of this overwhelming love, that he realized that his capacity for love was limitless, that he just had no idea how much love we can feel. We've only just touched, the tip of the iceberg. More life, less stress, less lack, more abundance. You start to see that all things are abundant. You look around, you look at nature. There's so many different signs. I looked at a tree the other day and I saw that a leaf had fallen from the tree, and I looked up and it was just hundreds and hundreds of thousands of leaves on this tree. And it's like, this is showing me how abundant life is in just this one example right here. I couldn't count all of these leaves if I wanted to. Then,
Wait, I'm sorry. Can I have you put the computer down a little bit, just because sometimes you're going out of the frame. You're saying such beautiful things. I want to make sure, there you go, that your head's inside the frame. Yeah. When you're looking at the trees, go back, you were at the trees.
okay, okay. So just you're able to see more abundance in your life and examples of abundance all around you. Um, so those are 10 things. Would you like me to go on or stop there for now?
No, I mean, that's really beautiful. I want to comment on the manifestation. And I feel like I have kind of an idea of why that happens faster. And you might have some feedback too. When we don't have all that junk in the stomach. The stomach is the second mind, the second brain, right? It's our gut instincts. When that's clogged up and we have a foggy brain to match that, we have a challenging time focusing on one thing. So I'm an intuitive reader, and I often work with people on how to materialize their reality. Because I came out here, let's see, at 23 with $200, and at 28 manifested a career, $1 million house, TV, radio. I mean, every single thing I had on my list, I got in less than 4 years with very specific principles. First of all, being single-minded. And when you don't eat, you can stay focused on a candle flame. You can stay focused on one thought longer. You're not distracted by all the shiny, sparkly things, right? The other thing about being a breatharian is when you have celibacy as a practice along with your food freedom, you're saving all that extra energy and not squandering it. So now you're focusing like supernova light, like a laser beam. And so you have now single-minded focus with a ton more power, because you're taking that sexual energy, the most powerful energy in the universe, and you're focusing it in a direction. And so the clarity, the materialization, the serotonin, I don't know if we mentioned that, but serotonin secretes in your brain after 3 days at very high levels, and you actually change your personality.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
So the other thing I wanted to speak to is that when we're thinking of something, I want to recommend anybody watching this, if they are interested in using these techniques to continue materializing, it's important to fast and pray and fast and meditate. And meditation is the foundation of food freedom. And why are we meditating? We're meditating, this is what Ramana Maharishi, the gentleman back there in that mandala, states, is self-inquiry. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I giving back? What will I leave behind? And when you ask yourself that question, or these questions when you're fasting, like the Buddha, you're in these high states of awareness, like the Christed ones. They would sit in meditation, and they would sit and they would fast for 40 days. It was a practice of the Essenes. It was an ancient practice of the mystery schools. It was a practice of the Hermetics, the occult. So a lot of the beings that had, like Emerson, Socrates, Plato, a lot of these people, Nostradamus, they knew that fasting was a way into the higher mind. Salvador Dali fasted. He would go long periods of time with no sleep and no food. And so there's a lot to looking at, getting clear on what your soul is doing in this dimension. And then when you get that clarity, then you surrender your will to the higher will. And now you have not only your sexual power, but you have the power of the universe. Like you said, you had this communion with the universe. You said the government had changed over. And now the government, or the nature, the natural world, the cosmos, are now on your behalf, and they're giving you that which you need to accomplish that which you are.
Yes, beautifully said. I couldn't have said it better. Yeah.
So tell me how that relates to you, and how have you been manifesting since you left? What's been going on in your world?
Well, I've been doing a lot of work on my end with expanding myself online, impacting as many people as I can with my podcast, my blog, my YouTube channel. And now, since I'm living this breatharian way of life, I've introduced this philosophy, this ideology, this way of living into, incorporating it into everything that I was already doing. So this has just been just infused in all of the different pursuits and ventures that I've already been linked with. But it's really just accentuated and emphasized everything that I'm about, which is about empowering us. They say that leadership is power, but true leadership is empowerment. Leaders create leaders. And so if we are the pioneers, they say that when it comes to breatharians, if there's the number always changes, but if there's 8 billion people on this planet, there's only about 90,000 breatharians. So if you can think 90,000 out of 8 billion, no wonder people don't think that this is possible. No wonder people don't think that they exist. But that number is steadily increasing. So we're very much, if we're under 100,000 strong, we're very much still in the pioneer stages of this new way of life. So anyone talking about it, sharing it, or even venturing to explore it, you are a pioneer. You are the first fruits. You are the people who are bringing this to light. So it's just even more important to me right now, as I'm discovering more and more myself, to spread this message, because I want to be one of the ones who is able to shine my light and spread it to other people.
So I want to go, that's beautiful. That is so beautiful. I love that you're a pioneer too, along with me. I really love doing these interviews with you. I love having our Thursday night meetups. And I feel that we are on the cutting edge of the cutting edge, and it will only continue to grow. And as it grows, I want to say what kind of impact it has. So it has the ability to restore health. It has the ability to restore youth. It has the ability to restore oneness and wholeness and integrity. It has the ability to restore the planet. So let's talk about the planetary impacts of a breatharian lifestyle. You're saving livestock. We no longer have to use animals as our food source. You're saving a lot of water from watering all of the vegetables and the farming that are feeding the livestock and feeding the vegetables. Do you see what I'm saying? There's a lot of water when we're in droughts that goes to feeding those type of things. You're saving the environment with all of the gas and the emissions that come out of transporting the livestock and transporting the water. That's a huge impact with the gases that come out of that. You're also saving yourself money, not going to the grocery store. I don't know about you, but my grocery bill was $400 to $600 sometimes, because I have a child, a month. If you're doing $100 a week, that's okay, whoa, I'm in LA. So I'm saving money. I'm saving time, not having to go to the grocery store, stand in line, buy the groceries. And now I'm eating less. So I only go every week and a half, or every 2 weeks do I even go to a grocery store. And then you're saving time cooking. You have all this time that you don't have to actually cook and then wash the dishes. And then that
Exactly.
3-4 hours a day preparing the food, making the food, cleaning up after the food. And then, and I'm going to toss it back to you right now, you have an entirely another life. They say that we sleep 1/3 of our life away. We sleep 1/3 of our existence away. And when you become food free or even in and out of breatharianism, you can exist on 2 to 4 hours of sleep a night. And that means you have, you know, not entirely 1/3 back, but you have close to 1/3 more of lifetime back that's healthier, more vital, more vibrant, newer ideas, and you feel just empowered, like you said.
Hmm. Most definitely. Yeah, you can easily gain 4 to 5 hours of life, as you say, back in your day, just to be able to do whatever you would like to do, whatever things you need to do, or whatever things you haven't gotten to do yet, or you keep putting off to the side, keep pushing off to the next day. You can easily get back on track with all this extra time, because with more energy, you have more time.
So what are you doing with your free life? I saw you here, you were reading. Every time I woke up at 3 a.m, or if I came back in and out of a meditation, you were always in the kitchen with a book and your notepad.
Yes. Yeah, I'm usually reading, or I'm watching inspirational, motivational videos that educate me, nourish my mind, videos that continue to teach me about this way of life, or videos that teach me things about financial literacy, videos that really just, I'm just really immersed in self-education, and really just teaching myself through all these different forms of media what I need to do. And, it's been paying off. It's been paying off a lot, that all this extra time has been a gift, such a wonderful gift. And I'm so grateful for it, because, yeah, I never knew that it was a gift that I didn't know was available, but now it is.
That's beautiful. So I am using my free time to learn more music, to read more spiritual books, to increase my psychic abilities, because I'm reading about the tarot, about telepathy, about bilocation. And right now I am studying the multiverse. So I'm jumping timelines and I'm going into future probabilities, and I'm collecting data on my own life stream and I'm pulling them into the present moment. And so I'm
Amazing.
reading this book about becoming a white wizard. And so I've been very excited about some of the data where there's a gaze that you use to empower yourself. There's the spoken word that you use to empower yourself. And there's the gift of laying on hands and how you can transfer that energy to your clients. And because I work directly with people on a daily basis, I work sometimes between 4 and 8 clients. Like 2 days ago, I had like 9 people that I mean, just all day long. And so to be able to wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning and do my Kundalini yoga, and then drop my daughter off, then walk 5 to 10 miles at the beach, then go to work at 11, and then sit and meditate. And then I can see clients and I can pull from 11 till 9 p.m. straight. I have tons of energy, and I'm able to use more of my gifts because they're cultivated, because in the late hours I'm studying about them, and in the waking hours I'm applying them.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Isn't that something?
It's so much fun.
Yes, yes.
It's so much fun. And I'm literally, and I don't know if this is happening to you, I literally think a thought and then within 24 hours it materializes.
Yep. Just, yeah, that quick. That quick. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's been like incredible. And I'll share like a miracle that happened today. So I have a client that I see on a weekly basis. I have several clients that I see on a weekly basis. So they'll buy a package of like, let's say a $1,500 package, and then I'll see them once a week for like 10 weeks. Okay. One of the clients, I just had this incredible amount of energy come through the last 3 or 4 days, where a different consciousness. When I'm channeling, I'm usually channeling an aspect of my higher self. So I talk just like I talk now. However, about 3 or 4 days ago, some new energy came in. I felt all this flood of light come through my body. I heard this like staccato type of transmission come in, and it sounded like a little bit like David Hawking. I don't know if you know who that is. He's a scientist that used to be here on the planet, but he has since transcended.
You mean Stephen Hawking?
Stephen, I'm sorry. Did I say
Okay.
David?
Okay.
I'm sorry. David Hawkins is Power versus Force, who's an incredible author. Stephen Hawkins, yes.
Okay.
So this is the scientist who had that little voice communication thing here.
Yes.
So that came through, and something said, just start recording what the information was. So I'm driving down the 405, going to get my daughter. I push my record button, and this voice was telling me about future things I would be doing, about becoming a breatharian and not pushing myself, about eating when I want to eat, everything's going to be fine. Messages from my stepmother, messages from my father. My father recently got diagnosed with a very not so good thing. I don't even want to mention what it is because I don't want to give it energy. However, the energy told me he'll completely be healed, and I need to just continue to send light, and that's going to work out. Then they told me about this client who had bought one of these energy things. I stopped the recording, put it on for her, and I let this channel come through. And within, 25 minutes, I had this whole thing about her entire scenario, about her life purpose. And I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, I'm just going to send it to her. Well, she calls me, she texts me back and says, whoa, that was so profound. So today I'm driving to pick up my daughter down the 405 again. And I go, I'm going to call her and I'm going to say, hey, thanks for the wow. I hope you really enjoyed that. And I push the button, and it's a referral. It's another person's name sent by this person's name, but I only saw that person's name because you know how it scrolls on your iPhone? So I accidentally called this other woman who I had never read for, but she was a referral and she was supposed to read with me. Mm-hmm. So the girl picks up the phone and says, hi, it's not XYZ. She's in San Francisco. It's this person. And she paused. And then I heard a voice say, it's not an accident. Stay on the phone. So then I say, nothing's ever an accident. How are you? Long pause. And then I hear a little bit of crying. And I was like, I'm supposed to talk to you right now, and I have a free time, so I would like to offer you this for free. I feel all of this energy coming through. Do I have permission to work with your energy? I always have to ask permission. And so she said, yes. All this stuff came through. And I said, somebody recently died. She said, yes, yesterday. I said, okay, they're here and they have some messages for you. Are you open? Would you like to hear them? Yes, blah, blah, blah. Well, before you know it, all of this stuff started trickling through. Now, that has not normally happened before I started my food freedom journey. I was not normally talking to dead people.
Right.
And that's not something that I came in with. I never really did that. But what was so interesting is I do pray every day. Dear God, use me. If anybody needs me, if you want me to say something to somebody, if I'm walking down the street and you have a word and I'm open, I will speak your word. If you want me to do something, give me an intention, make it strong, make it clear, make it direct so I know exactly what to do. So when the accidental on purpose phone call went to that girl, a half an hour later, she went from tears to laughter and ended writing a song on the guitar.
Wow.
For one of the people who died.
Wow. Wow. Amazing.
So, we can say it's a miracle, or we can say that everything's a miracle.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
All of life is a miracle. And
yes.
when we can surrender our will to the present moment, and when we're focused on our spirituality, when we're focused on our communion, when we don't have the pains in our body, we don't have the distractions in our mind, and we don't have the intentions for power, greed, lust, fame, when we don't have all those pulls, we can actually hear. Everybody's clairvoyant. Everybody's telepathic. Everybody's psychic. Everybody has a soul. They're psychic. Now, the signals, they're always going, like the radio waves, they're always coming in. But are we listening? So when we fast or when we practice food freedom, I feel like the universe turns them up really loud. Do you have any experience of what I'm talking about?
Yes, and I did have some experiences at the retreat where I had never before seen visions. That's another thing I put on this list here. But I was having certain times where I would go in and out, and it was like I was seeing things like just in my mind, like little scenes play out, almost like a sitcom or something. And then I would just snap out of it. And those types of things never happened before. It was more palpable daydreaming, like visions, like. And so yeah, I definitely agree with you.
So when I'm working with people, the first thing I like to ask individuals that have mind movies, because that's what I call them. I've had mind movies I've had since I came in. So I navigated most of my career on mind movies. What action did you take after you received the data, if any?
Well, some of it was confusing. You know, some of it I didn't really know how to piece the puzzles together, but I knew that this was coming from somewhere and that it was trying to give me some sort of information because they were very close to the goings on of my surroundings. But it was just unclear at times because it was a new experience and I was really inexperienced to know what I should do or what steps I should take. So very good question. I just, often I didn't know what to do with them, but I knew that it was a new experience. It was something that had never happened to me before.
So I want to recommend that you keep a dream journal and a vision journal so that when those flashes of intuition come in, what I have come to realize when I actually take action on what I'm receiving is they're coming in for different timelines. Like a deja vu isn't necessarily something that happened in the past that you feel like is happening right now. I feel like it's currently happening right now and you're blending into it and you're receiving like little bits of it. And then when you choose something, it splits off. And when you choose something, it splits off. And when you choose something, it splits off. So there's multiple yous in the multiverse. And when you're surfing the multiverse, you can blip in and out of those. And then you can bring that present moment here and actualize. For example, Tuesday, I was driving into work and my friend calls me and says, hey, there's this really cool channel. She's going to be doing a 9:00 channel from 9 to like 11 from Florida. You should jump in on that. I think that you'd be really good at doing like conscious channeling for groups on Zoom. And I'm like, okay. So I'm driving in and I'm like, wow, it's like opening. I didn't plan on that. Well, I get to my location. It's 9:00. I just finished my walk and somebody calls and says, hey, her construction person showed up. She's not going to channel. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. This guy calls me from Houston, Texas, and he tells me I should do this channel. And then I get on the channel and then she's not going to show up for the channel. And then I have to like hang up the phone and then unhook the channel. And then I hear, you're going to be channeling. And for the next 2 hours, streaming. And I recorded all of it. Wow. I have 2 hours of streaming data that I didn't have that was actually financial advice, career advice, business strategy advice, and health advice for a couple of my family members.
No accidents. No accidents. Yes.
So
I love it.
So when information comes in, I wrote it down. I listened to it. I tape recorded it. That was the one thing. I'm hearing it coming in, so I'm going to immediately get my thing and I'm going to record it. So you can write it down or you can just say it out loud as it's coming in and record it. Then I go to work, and one of the notes was, you were going to listen to a Zoom channel, you need to do a Zoom channel. Now she didn't show up, so you have another hour, so now plan the whole Zoom channel. So I go to work, and one of the managers says, you have an 11 o'clock for an hour. And I'm like, oh, I wanted to do this Facebook event for the Zoom channel. I go to work and I sit down, they call me and they said, the guy booked it 3 months ago, but we can't get a hold of him, so you're free. I was like, okay. So then I heard, do it. So I'm doing it. I create the whole thing. As soon as I upload it, a client walks in and they say, you have another client for a half an hour, who actually turns into an hour. And that 175 that I thought I lost, I regained, but I had the space to immediately take action on the channel that I received from myself to do the channel.
Wow. Wow. You can't make these things up. Yeah.
No. And that day, it's like, that's when I read, like, I think 9 people. I made like $422.50, $422 on that day that I received the channel. I took action on the channel, and then my whole day was filled. So for me, it's not about the money as much as it is the numerology. 4 is about grounding the vision. 22 is my birthday, is a master number. It's a master builder. And my life stream is building the new earth to allow light workers to grid in with their sacred geometry, their soul purpose. Hear that beep, beep?
Mm-hmm.
So the 422.50, the 5 is transmutation. Now, I lived for 15 years. The house I bought at 28 was 4555. That was my address, 4555. So stability, 55, transformation. So I was a transformational fitness coach, and I was making $250,000 a year in my 20s as a transformational coach, because I lived at that address, which was 4555. So numbers are always coming at me. 1111 is always coming at me. 2222. I see 222s everywhere. There are cabs with 22222. Do you see the cabs around LA?
Oh yes. I see them.
Always around me.
Mm-hmm.
Teslas always around, everywhere. They're always around me. Teslas are always around me, which are like big, huge flashing signs, like today. And my daughter and I know you're into the Tesla vibe. We actually have a game, because we drive an hour to school and I drive an hour back. Okay. We play a game. How many Teslas can we count? So she's Molly, Tesla. And I'm like, okay, Tesla. Okay, 3-1. Mommy, Tesla. 5-2. Look, and we see how many Teslas we can get to school and see who wins.
That's so precious. I love that. That reminds me of a game we used to play called Punch Buggy, No Punch Back. We would do it with Volkswagens. I used to live in the South. I don't know if other people used to play that game, but whenever you would see a Volkswagen, you would punch the person next to you or something, say punch buggy, no punch back. So that's cute that you and your daughter would play that game.
Yeah, and I do feel that there will be a time that, like, why is that coming in? I remember when I was 26, I was driving a Dodge, and I really wanted a Mercedes. And I kept like, I want a Mercedes. My uncle always had a Mercedes. My uncle was like one of my favorite uncles. He was very successful. He's the one who I lived with for a little bit when I was in my high school years. He'd get me up at 4 or 5 in the morning. We'd run in the snow. We'd run in the rain. He was very disciplined. He owned his own company. He always leased a Mercedes. He always told me to always clean your cars, always take care of your things, always invest in yourself. And so at 26, that impression was with me since I was 16. And so I started seeing Mercedes everywhere, Mercedes. But I thought, I can't afford a Mercedes. I'm not gonna be able to buy a Mercedes. This is crazy. Then I met my roommate, who was an attorney. And she said, hey, I want you to go car shopping with me. I'm gonna buy a Mercedes. And I was like, oh, okay. And so she got me there and she goes, you should test drive the Mercedes. I go, I can't afford a Mercedes. She goes, oh, just test drive the Mercedes. So she's test driving a black Mercedes. I'm test driving a white Mercedes. And don't you know what happened? I drive off the lot in a white Mercedes.
Woo!
Now, I can't even tell you how that happened, other than the fact that they ended up taking my Dodge as a trade-in. And I happen to have a little tiny bit of extra cash in the savings account that I didn't think they would accept, but it was very low money down. And it was very, very, very used. A very used Mercedes. So it's not like I spent a bunch of money. You know what I'm saying? It was an old Mercedes. But somehow, like that energy, when I kept seeing them all over LA, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm from Maryland. We don't hardly see a Mercedes in Maryland. If you're in LA, I saw Mercedes like every other car in Beverly Hills and in Santa Monica and the Valley. And I was just like, wow. And then before you know it, here I am behind the wheel of a white Mercedes. Now, is it about the car? No, it's about the flash of intuition. You'll drive a Mercedes, the person that invites you to the dealership, you sit behind the wheel, and now you're driving a Mercedes. So now let's take it to practical application, because I'm a scientist. We're in the retreat. Grace, our client, her car dies. I get a phone call at 1 a.m, and you were here for this. She says, Athena, my car died. I don't know what to do. I'm stuck here. It's not going to work. I have no car. I can't even drive back above San Francisco. And, I said, don't worry, I'm going to pick you up. Everything's going to work out. And she was just like, I don't know. I can't see it. I can't see it. She was so contracted. When you're contracted, you have very little reception to the noosphere. You know that, right? Fear, fight or flight. You get the lowest bandwidth. You get the least amount of possibilities.
Right.
So I pick her up. I start playing mantra music because I know she loves Kundalini. I start playing meditation chants that create miracles. Now I'm inducing her, right? Then I take her into the kitchen and she hasn't been eating. And then I start layering in the subconscious mind. You were there. And then I start talking about Neville Goddard. And she's like, oh, I don't know. I said, listen, imagine you're going to go to a dealership. I'm going to take you. Imagine test driving a car. Imagine there's a 0% down. Imagine you don't need anything for a trade-in. That's never going to happen. That's impossible. And I go, but what if it was possible? And then you look at me and you go, I see what you're doing. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
And then 2 days later, I kind of left it alone because I didn't want to push her into something she wasn't ready for. But I did want to see if she wanted to test her magic skills. She hadn't been eating for like 3 or 4 days. So we're at the beach and we were doing Qigong, remember? I still have some good interviews I got to send of you at the beach. We're at the beach. I'm doing interviews. We're by the Rainbow Lifeguard stand. I walk all the way down to the pier, which is 5 miles. I walk all the way back. Grace calls me. Hi, do you still want to take me to go test drive a car? I said, yes, I do. So we go to the dealership. Jerome, you went with us. And we sit down and she was so nervous. I don't know if I should drive the car. I don't know. I said, listen, they're going to give you 0% down. They're going to give you the interest rate that you want. You're not going to have a trade-in. And we walk in and she goes, I don't know. And the first time the guy was just like, it's this, this, and this. Hurdle, hurdle, hurdle. He walks away. And I'm like, guru, guru, wahi, guru, guru, ram, das, guru, 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 wahi, guru, guru, ram, das, guru. And I'm playing this next to her, right? He comes back. The interest rate goes lower. She breathes a little bit. I still can't do it. He goes back to the manager. Guru, guru, wahi, guru, guru, ram, das, guru. Single-mindedness, bombarding the frequency with the sacred geometry of the sound that changes the energy. He comes back. 0 down. He lowers the interest rate 3 points. She can drive off with the car. Yeah. And we test drove 2 cars and she got the car that she wanted. And she left with a brand new car that's actually, it's a hybrid. She was driving Uber with a gas driven car. So not only did she get a new car, she's going to save on gas and she's going to go home safely. And she saw how her mind influenced her reality based on her belief and focus.
Perfect example. Yeah. We
can all do that. That is my point. I am not unique. I am not some anomaly in the I love you field. Every single one of us is an aspect of divinity. Every single one of us has the power to collapse on a single thought, the word Om, a job that they want, a relationship that they want, a home that they want. This is the home that I want. I materialized this home. I went from my home in Toluca Lake with 2 guest houses, lost that in 2009, the mortgage crisis, went from ashram to different places and couch surfing and living in an RV, then saying to the universe, I'm ready to materialize a home. And boom, 4 years ago, I materialized almost the identical home to my last home. If I showed you pictures, you'd be like, the courtyard's the same bricks, the wood floor's the same. There was no furniture in that living room. I had Tibetan prayer flags all over. The only difference is I had 2 guest houses, but it was the same size property because it had 2 lots. So our subconscious impresses this reality and allows our superconscious, when we're present, to take the little breadcrumbs. And we were going to call this Breatharian breadcrumbs. And you know what? I think actually we should call it that, Breatharian breadcrumbs. Take the breadcrumbs, follow the breadcrumbs down the golden brick road of I love you, and receive the gifts that are for you. Receive the gifts that are for you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
That's my big dramatic pause so that you comment.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree, and we must allow it, we must allow ourselves to receive what is there for us to receive. So it's a good thing that grace was finally in the right place to be able to allow that to happen, because action completed the manifestation. Her taking action, her going out and saying, finally, just facing her fear and getting out of that vibration allowed the manifestation to take place. So yeah, it was just a wonderful occurrence. I was there test driving with you both, and I was just watching it unfold. I was enjoying myself.
And for those of you who might not have experienced this yet, I want to inspire you to think a thought, or if you feel a dream, if you see a dream in your heart or in your mind, write it on a piece of paper, create 3 action steps, and then take action. Like, take immediate action, because procrastination is what slows down materialization. Is when you think, oh, I can, but no, I can't. Because the one, beep, 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 see that? That's the universe going beep, beep, beep. That's exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. So yeah. With Grace, I said to her, your name is Grace. My angel in the backyard's name is Grace. Ramana Maharishi is your guru. Ramana Maharishi is my guru. You love Kundalini. I sing the Kundalini chants in the morning. I'm doing Kundalini every day. It wasn't a part of the Breatharian retreat, but it's a part of my life, which my life is a retreat. I live into the Kundalini frequency. That's my life. I'm a Kundalini yoga person. And so I said, Grace, it's not an accident that you're here. And it's not an accident that grace means you don't have to earn it. That the divine mother, father, God want to gift you this beautiful car so that you'll receive it, so that you can do the good work. You know why? Because she's an incredible artist. Did you see her art? She's
very good. Yes.
The art
She's amazing.
The heart opening, the angels coming in. Her art was all about humanity rising up into these beautiful colors. And I said, when you trust grace, you know that the universe will support your purpose. And this car is a part of your purpose. So you have to understand that if you lose a car and it's required for you to do your purpose, the universe will not drop its responsibility. It will get your back 100% of the time.
I believe that.
So one of the other things I want to mention is, so when I work with clients, I give them little Harry Potter exercises as I'm coaching their soul through their own mystery schools, right? Because you're your own guru. I just consider myself a guide and a plumber. I will unplumb where the clogs are, unplumb the plugged up flows. I'm going to unplug, and then I'm going to guide you so that you can navigate. And I will gift you guys this exercise. Those of you who want to jump in and take it, think of something small that you can materialize. Don't ask for it. Don't fish for it. Just think about it. Feel that you've already received it. Write it on a piece of paper and carry it in your pocket. And see how many moments, hours, or days it takes you to receive that gift. So I had a client who was an attorney. for the, entertainment industry, and I work with her on a weekly basis. And I said, let's try something small. I gave her the example of a cup of tea. I'm driving down the freeway. I'm like, today I'm going to materialize a cup of tea without buying it myself. And somehow I went through the day and somebody went, hey, tea's on the house. And they gave me a cup of tea. I took a picture of it. I stuck it on my Facebook page. I'm like, the tea, I did it. So I told that story and I asked her to name something. And she says, a candle. She says, a candle. I said, perfect. So she's visualizing the candle week 1. Week 2, she's disappointed she doesn't have the candle. She's like trying to will the candle in. She calls me week 3, the candle's not here yet. What am I doing wrong? I said, you have to thank the candle for already being there. You can't want the candle. You can't even intend the candle because you're saying you don't have the candle. Like when you're thanking the Mercedes, you're thinking you're driving the Mercedes. You're thanking the Tesla, you're driving the Tesla. Thank the candle. So last week, she texts me, the candle has arrived. And she sends me a picture of the candle. And it was like, wow. And the candle had 3 little bees on it. And we looked up bees, and bees were wealth, prosperity, hardworking, community, and the honey of life.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to motivate as we wrap up this clip, because we're a little bit over, for anybody listening to think of a thought. And remember, there's no difference between, a little thing and a big thing. It's just your belief system. So start little. Start like a cup of tea or a candle or anything you want. And think it, feel that you've received it, use gratitude to thank it, write it on a piece of paper, keep it in your pocket, and watch the universe miraculously gift you back through grace that which you already are, which is just saying, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. That reminds me of a book that I read recently called It Works. It's just a simple book. It's called It Works. It's like $2 on Amazon, but it works. It definitely works. Just writing it down. When we design it on paper, we will achieve it on purpose.
Oh, say that again.
When we design it on paper, we will achieve it on purpose. Yeah, I believe that.
That is so beautiful. When we design it on paper, say it again.
You will achieve it on purpose. Yeah.
You will achieve it. You will achieve it on purpose. When you design it on paper, you will achieve it on
purpose. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Well, isn't that glorious? You're so wonderful. I love you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I want to do more of these. Now we are advertising a retreat in March. So I will put a link at the bottom of this video. Those of you who are interested and learning Qigong and Tai Chi, and you don't have to be food free. We can take you from teas to liquids to smoothies to juicing, any of the above. Or if you want to jump into the dry or water fast, we'll also do that. But mostly what we're going to do is we're going to put you in a very healthy, beautiful, healing space so that you can start playing with some of your higher magical gifts.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to see you next week here at the Sound Palace Temple, because we're going to do our Facebook Live, which will turn into a YouTube video. And we'll have some of the community over, and you're going to be giving us another powerful lecture on some of the Kabbalion stuff that you've been jumping into, yeah?
I'm already ready. Yes, we're ready to go.
Okay, beautiful. Well, thank you so much. This is Jerome Shaw. This is Athena StarSeed. We love you. We appreciate you. And this is our new breatharian world. We're bringing it into materialization through our imagination and our feeling nature. Blessings and light.
Yes.
Okay, let me see here. Oops. Uh-oh. Do you want to stop the cloud recording? Yes.